Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. Remember, new episodes come out every Thursday. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button on this video as well as our other videos. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Big Red Zone. And as always, tell a friend. This week, we have guest host Dave Griffin on the show. We'll talk about the Patriots. Now that it's the offseason, we'll talk about the Patriots offseason a little bit. The NBA All-Star Game, how it was the lowest viewership in history. So we'll have to talk about that, see if what they can do to improve. Also, of course, spring training. We'll talk to Dave about his spring training as well as look ahead to the Red Sox and around the MLB. All that and more in this week's episode of Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. Today, I am joined by Dave Griffin, my good friend.
How we doing?
Dave, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
It's always good to be on.
Looking spiffy in your collared tank top.
I know, right? I'm trying to get rid of this conversation.
Hey,
already down bad for the count.
You just wanted to show off the guns, my friend. I already know you're trying to show them off for the viewers.
Dude, it ain't no guns. It can't even throw 92 at this point. I'm only kidding.
It's spring it's early. It's early. We're train. It's spring training. We're training for the regular season, right? It's
I'm just trying to get rid of this farmer's tan early. It's bad.
How's everything going, Dave?
Going good. Can't complain. I mean, the weather's beautiful down here. Last week was a little cooler week, like about 60s or so, and I know, right? And then this week's been more humid, the low 80s and stuff like that. Really sunny, so I really can't complain. I mean, definitely baseball fever down here for sure.
For sure. Last time we talked to you, I was looking at it was the beginning of November. What's anything new since November? I know you just got down to spring training, but anything new that's happened since we last talked to you?
No, I mean, just been getting ready for the season, stuff like that. Still trying to figure out if I'm going to be starting or relieving. Just going to go out there and do the best I can. I mean, just got to be ready for whatever. So that's the goal at the end of the day.
Awesome. And obviously down with the Mets spring training again. You guys got a bunch of new faces in the big league club. Have you got to work out with any of them yet, or are you going to have a chance to work out with any of them?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, you never know what's going to happen going on from big league camp. A lot of guys will come down the minor league side to use the field sometimes. I got down here February 6th, and then while I was the first week down here, Kodai Senga was down here getting his work in before big league camp arrived. So it was cool to watch him go about his business, and just you see all the hype around him, and even just him moving around, just throwing a baseball. I mean, you can see why he's going to be the hype's there. So I'm excited to watch how he does. It was really cool to see it on a first person basis, just watching him go about it. So I mean, I'm excited to see how he does and the new guys do.
Very cool, very cool. And when does your season start? I haven't looked at when it's around the same time, right? It's in end of March, early April.
I know. Yeah, I know AA opens up. I think most of the lower levels. I don't know when AAA starts. I know AA starts April 6th. It's that Thursday. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So
a couple months away. Less than a month away.
Oh, yeah.
A little over a month away. Exciting stuff.
I know, right?
So we'll talk about a little bit of spring training and stuff later in the show. Thought it would be fun to end off on that, but we want to start off with because I know you're a big Pats fan. Super Bowl we had the Super Bowl episode last week. Before we get into Patriots, general reaction from the Super Bowl? Did you like it? Were you rooting for them or?
I mean, I thought it was a great game. I was rooting for Philly. I'm a big fan of Jalen Hurts, watching him go about his work ethic. I mean, his story. I mean, we've been seeing that unfold for years in the national media and stuff like that. I mean, he got benched in the national championship, end up having to transfer, going to Oklahoma there, do well there. Yeah, I mean, I was rooting for him. Obviously, the Kansas City is a really good football team. I mean, I don't want to say they're on the cusp of a dynasty, but they're almost there. But I mean, just that holding call at the end of the game. I mean, it ruined a great game.
Yeah.
I mean, if I wouldn't have been upset with the call if they had the same call that they had earlier in the game on Juju. For me, it's an accountability thing. It's like you can't just let that go early, then decide to call it at the end. It's like,
Yeah.
and then Juju making fun of that on Valentine's Day was even worse. Like that was just zero feel. Like the guy even admitted that he was holding him. But no, it was a great game overall. The back and forth scoring, things like that.
Yeah, I thought we talked about it last week. It was a good. We thought it was a good Super Bowl. The holding call was tough just because they, like you said, the inconsistency in the game. It's tough to not call it all day and then you call it on the biggest stage of the game. But overall, great
Exactly.
game. Looking at the Patriots offseason, they already added Billy O, which was a huge add for us. I think that was like probably the number one thing they needed to do. What do you think's the
Oh yeah.
next thing? What do you think? Is there anything else? Well, there is a lot of stuff that they need to add, but like, what do you think is the
Yeah.
next biggest
I
addition
mean,
they
you got
need to do?
you got to get a big name receiver. Honestly, I mean, you give a lot of these young quarterbacks a big name receiver like AJ Brown came to Philly, went with Hurts. They both flourish. Same thing with you give Stephon Diggs to Josh Allen, they go off. Same thing with Mahomes. I mean, Tyreek, you can say that, or Mahomes and Kelsey, and then you can say that with Tyreek Hill and Tua. Like, I think Mac needs a big time receiver. Because at this point now, it's like you said, it was the offensive coordinator. All right, you get rid of Patricia. All right, you bring in Billy O, who was one of the most successful offensive coordinators during like the Pats regime. So it's people like it's on Mac now whether he performs or not. Whether like I was a fan of Zappy. I mean, Mac. There was times where Mac made some really questionable plays, but then again, it's like I don't know. I mean, it's easy to critique from the couch when you're not playing the game. So
Yeah,
I mean, all I gotta say is it's on Mac if he doesn't do well this year.
yeah, I agree. I said it during the year at the end of the year last year with the Pat season, and I'll say it again now. I don't put much on Mac from last season. Now, I said if they give him a good offensive coordinator and they give him some weapons on offense, then we'll judge Mac. If Mac doesn't have a good year, then I'll be the first one to say it's start time to look for a new quarterback. But I think if they can, do they added the offensive coordinator. I agree they need to add another weapon wide receiver. I don't even think they need like you know, everyone's saying DeAndre Hopkins. It would be cool to get DeAndre Hopkins. I like Jerry Judy. Jerry Judy's like an undercut. I haven't heard that been floated around a lot, and I'm surprised because Jerry Judy has ties with both Billy O and Mac. So I think it makes a lot of sense to try to go get him. Denver's kind of in a tough spot. I know they just added Sean Payton, so they're probably going to try to build with what they have. But if I'm the Pats and I know Denver needs picks, I would try to make a trade to get Jerry Judy. T. Higgins would be a great ad. I love T. Higgins. I like DeAndre Hopkins. But I think Jerry Judy's a kind of a wild card addition that I haven't heard talked about a lot this offseason.
I
Early
mean,
offseason.
oh yeah, I mean, but at the same time too, I think Denver now has one of the most prolific like passing games. Honestly, you have, Jerry Judy, but you also have Cortland Sutton what's his name? Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, Sutton. Yeah.
Sutton. I mean, yeah, I mean, he was hurt for a while and Jury flourished. So now it's like, all right, like I understand Denver needs picks, but it's like give it a year with Sean Payton, Russ Wilson, and those two guys at the receivers and see what happens. But I mean, it sucks that we're probably not going to get DeAndre because DeAndre Hopkins and Bill O'Brien have very bad blood.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
I mean, honestly, one of the best receivers got traded to Arizona for literally like spare change. I mean, he did it out of spite, and that's where it's kind of messed up. And then, like, yeah, Bill 1 and 2, but I think Belichick hiring Bill O'Brien, like that kind of said, yeah, DeAndre's not going to come over here anymore. Thought I might want to just flew somewhere. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, T. Higgins would be a great addition. I mean, he should get paid. I mean, he put up great numbers. He could be a wide receiver one anywhere. I mean, even Devontae Smith. But I don't think
I
the
love
Eagles are going to go away
Devontae
from him as
Smith.
well. Oh, I
I
do too,
love
but I
him.
don't think the Eagles are going to go away from him.
Right. That was why I've been saying Jerry Jeudy for a couple months now, but I think that's going to happen for the same reason with Devontae Smith. A little
Yeah.
bit different reasoning, but the Eagles had so much success. They're not just going to get rid of Devontae Smith. They're going to ride it out with both A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. The Broncos, I thought the Broncos were going to blow it up, honestly, this year, but adding Sean Payton is not a blow it up move. So I'm a little less confident that Jerry Jeudy would be easily tradable. But I do think I like Jerry Jeudy. Of all the receivers available, I think Jerry Jeudy's fit here would be the best fit of everyone. I think the wide receiver is definitely one of the top ads they need to make. I think they also need to add a few tools on that O-line. I mean, the O-line did pretty good down the stretch, but I think they need to add more to give Mac time. A lot of times when Mac turned the ball over at the beginning of the season or throughout the season, is because he had no time or he got hit when he was throwing. I think they need to add a little more beef on the O-line, and they already did one step to improving it, which is bringing a new O-line coach, which I think is a good plan because the other guy that was in charge of the O-line was Matt Patricia. So you got rid of that cancer in the locker room. So I think coach, but maybe adding a draft pick through the O-line and see if there's any players in the free agent market that can help beef that up, I think will do a lot of good for the Patriots.
Oh, definitely too. I mean, I mean, you see these guys. I mean, if you took like a picture of Josh Allen in the pocket when we were playing him, it was like that man had forever to throw.
Right.
And you give a guy like Josh Allen who has that good of an arm and can run the ball like that by himself a chance to get time like that. Oh my God, dude, he's gonna be. No wonder why he's having like those passing yards and stuff like that. It's like that's good just because of the offensive line.
I think about Patrick Mahomes in that Super Bowl. I mean, the Chiefs are a perfect example. They knew they had to give Pat Mahomes a lot more time, and they've invested a lot into that offensive line over the last few years. They had a guy like Joe Tooney. They add through the draft. I think the Patriots, who normally put a very high premium on O-line, which I think they'll do this year. I think adding to the O-line and also a big key for me for the Patriots offseason is bringing back the guys that need to be brought back. They have a lot of free agents on that roster from last year that were they were key guys, and they need to bring those guys back. Guys like Jacoby Myers. I think Jacoby Myers has to be a must to bring back. They also had, believe Duggar is either a free agent this year or next year. I could be wrong.
Duggar's a free agent next year, I believe.
They should re-sign that guy. They need to make sure they lock him up sometime in the next year. Jonathan Jones is a free agent. They need to bring him back. Looking at like Jabril Peppers, if they can bring that guy back, I would bring him back in a heartbeat.
Yeah, he was good last year.
He was great. He had kind of a resurgence of his career. Pats kind of saved his career. I would definitely bring him back.
I mean, that's a Pats move at that point.
Yeah, I think that's a great keep for them. As much as people probably don't want to say it, I think keeping Damian Harris is a good, smart move at the right price. As much as you want to go to Stevenson, I think having that 1-2 combo is smart. And when Damian Harris played last year, he was good. He was a good running back. So I'd like to see them hold on to him. Guys like Myers and Jonathan Jones, you have to re-sign these guys. And I know a lot of people want Isaiah Wynn gone. That's fine too, but you need to find someone to come in and play the tackle spot. And I think
Exactly, and that's where it gets tricky.
yeah. So Pats have a big. I mean, they also big news from not big news, but Patriots news was Matt Slater is coming back for another year, which is good on the special teams. He was still a very effective, even though he's older. He's been very effective for the Pats last year on the special teams. It's good to have like a second coach out there. The big question mark, I think, for them, another older player is Devin McCourty. I don't know if he's going to be done or he's going to come back, but I would like to see him come back just because I have a lot of question marks in that secondary. I'm not saying that he is like as good as he was a few years ago, but I think again having the veteran leadership on the defensive side is helpful with this team at the spot we're in right now. I was just looking at some of the free agents. A guy that would be kind of cool to come in and sweep in and get is a guy like Orlando Brown, left tackle for KC. Like
Ooh,
he's a young left tackle. Bill wants to spend money. I wouldn't mind spending a lot of money on a guy like that who will help protect Mac Jones this year. If they load up this year and they add to offensive line, they bring in a couple weapons on offense, and they help the defense. But
yeah.
those two big things, like I said, everyone's still saying, do we get rid of Mac this year or play someone else or sign another quarterback? Because I know there's a lot of quarterbacks available. Stick with Mac one more year, and if Mac's not the guy, then we can move on. But
Because you know what else they haven't done, or who had a which two guys had a very quiet year that no one's talking about with the year before how good they were. The tight
who
ends, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith.
I know,
Like if you get them going as well, like you have that power weapons, then you have okay, you bring in you can get away with Myers as a being wide receiver one, or you bring in a big name receiver. So you have those two, you have the two tight ends, you have those two receivers, and then you have Stevenson run the ball, who's 1,000-yard rusher. I think the first time since Corey Dillon. I could be wrong.
yeah, something
Or
like that.
and then you have another running back, and you throw Marcus Jones out there too. Like that's a pretty solid offense that can win you a lot of football games. Now it's
Yeah,
just now there's no excuse to Mac. I mean, yeah, you got to boost the offensive line and it's see how the play calling goes. It's getting the tight ends more involved. It's can the quarterback make the right reads? And that Mac is going to be on the hot seat this year.
yeah, for sure. The Patriots have the highest paid tight end room in the league, but they don't use them. Like that was something that even Josh, as much as we kind of give Josh a pass and say he was so great, he didn't use him that well effectively either. He used Hunter Henry toward down the stretch of the season. He had a lot of touchdowns down the stretch of that 2 seasons ago when they made the playoffs.
Yeah,
But for 2 years now, we signed Juano Smith. We haven't used him once. They need to use him
yeah,
or trade him or get rid of him, one or the other. Uh, and we have another guy that Mac called his best friend, Kendrick Bourne. If they just use Kendrick Bourne in a game, he'll
yeah,
be effective. The first game last year that they actually used him for high percentages of the game, like his snap percentage was up, snap count was up, he had over 100 yards and a touchdown. So it's like if they use them, there's good chemistry there. You use the tight ends, you bring back Jacoby Myers, and then you sign. If you can get another wide receiver in the room in the building, there's no excuse for Mac, and I think he's going to have a. I think Mac is going to be successful. To another looking at basketball, another complete pivot. They had the NBA All Star Game weekend this past weekend. Looking at the events first, actually a huge celebrity basketball game fan. I loved it. That's probably
Oh
my
no,
favorite
I
event.
like it too. It's bad how that's the number one everyone's looking forward to nowadays. I mean, because like yeah, you want to see which celebrities have like skills and stuff like that, and then on top of that too, it's like nobody really cares to compete in like the events leading up to it. Like yeah, the 3 point contest was good. Like having Dame there was great, but at the same time too, it's like dude, like the rookies in the 3 point contest were brutal.
Yeah,
Like the amount of misses that they had, like that was bad. Like here's the thing, like if you're a professional athlete and you're not in like the top percentage of 3 point shooting percentage or whatever, you probably shouldn't be in a 3 point contest. I'm just gonna say facts. It's like That's the thing too. Like if they're paying good money, like they want to see the best of the best. Like that's why they want to see the best dunkers. Like,
Right.
like I'm glad they brought in Mac McClung. I mean, you've seen his high school mixtape days. Like he was great then. Like you knew he was going to be good. You knew you weren't going to be disappointed. But then like all the other guys though, it was like one dude went to grab a note and but him just like grabbing the note gave him a chance to pull in the net and so he can do an elbow dunk. So nobody jumped. So nobody was like, "Oh my god, like this was so cool." Everyone was just kind of like, "Really?"
Yeah, it was the slam dunk contest has been on a real like decline since
It's been
the
roller
Aaron Gordon
coasters.
Zach LaVine, like the Aaron Gordon
Oh
Zach
yeah,
LaVine face off was the best one I think I've seen in a long time. But it's been downhill. This year I thought it was pretty good, but only because Matt McClung put on a show. Like
I mean, he
if
brought
you
it back. He every dunk he made was on the first attempt, and that's what people want. Like if you miss three dunks, like all right, too bad. Like you need to be like getting more dunks.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
like like I'd rather go by you get two misses and that's it. Like not a
Yeah,
timer or whatever. It's like no, like get the misses.
yeah. If you missed the dunk, you shouldn't get it. Um, Also, DK Metcalf, could he play in the NBA? Like he looks
Dude.
nasty. He looks Nega is just a freak of nature. He's so
Oh
nasty.
yeah. Dude, his diet's just skills. You ever see that video? Him being interviewed?
No,
He was on, I forget which podcast it was. They asked what his diet was. He was like, I eat Skittles all the time.
eats Skittles. It's like
I mean, something's going on in Seattle over there. You got DK with that, Marshawn Lynch, same
Marshawn
thing.
Lynch.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
was
Once
he was
Marshawn went to Oakland, he
nasty.
started struggling. Oh yeah, dude, how about
Not
that
enough
video of
Skittles.
him? How about DK? That video of him going up like 5 feet in the air and catching that ball, and then immediately getting drug tested right afterwards.
um. Yeah, but I agree about the also the events. No one takes it seriously, and then the game is just a joke. I mean, Jalen
You want
Brown
to know
said it.
one?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Uh,
I'll finish
I,
off afterwards.
I was gonna say Jalen Brown said the game was a glorified layup lines. That's all the game was. It was just everyone go down and get get yours. If you want to dunk, go dunk. If you want to take a shot, shot. The most entertaining part of that whole game was when Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum tried to lock each other up for like 5 straight possessions back and forth. The other guys got out of the way, and it was one-on-one full court between Jalen Brown and
Yeah.
Jason Tatum. And it was, I mean, you saw it in like spurts. I think like Joel Embiid tried to play a little defense. Like he was like trying to play with a little bit of intensity, but the All-Star game is such like a joke now, and I feel like it just takes a couple guys wanting to take it seriously, but I just don't know who that's going to be. You need some of these main guys to be like, all right, let's try to lock up and play some defense, and make this a game. It's not competitive.
The
it's a waste of time.
the best All-Star game in recent memories, in that most meaningful one, it was actually when in 2020, right after Kobe died. They did by quarter in like first team to X amount of points. If you
Yeah,
won this money is going to charity. And on top of that too, it was like there was incentives for that. And it meant something too at the end, which was fantastic. Like those guys went really hard. Like they actually started playing defense too. And like I remember there was discussions of doing, like what if they do like a one-on-one competition? Like will they ever do that? And Spencer Dinwiddie said it best. He goes, absolutely not. He goes, every guy in the NBA can go one-on-one with each other and do well. He goes,
yeah,
nobody wants to see Devin Booker getting cooked by Spencer Dinwiddie. It's like if you're gonna be doing the one-on-one, like all those big name guys, they'll never do the one-on-one stuff because
yeah.
it's a lose-lose. Because if they lose in general, that someone's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, like someone like I got that over you," and now it's like they can't talk trash now.
Right.
So like you'll never see stuff like that, which sucks. But I mean, they can do other things. Like what challenge I actually really liked back in the day that they used to do this, the horse challenge.
I
Like
did like the horse challenge. The horse
like
challenge was
that
a
was fun to
fun
watch.
competition. It was a fun
Like dude,
competition.
like you give me Steph Curry in the horse challenge, that'd be fantastic to watch. Him, Dame, like forget the 3-point contest, throw in the horse contest.
Yeah. throw KD in there, you throw Jason Tatum, you throw like some of these great
They would they
scorers.
would they would they would 100% do it because here's the thing. Now it's based off of creativity, not
Right.
like one-on-one ISO and stuff like that. Like people would
Yeah.
pay good money to watch them, and like those guys could hit half court shots if they wanted to. Like no,
Yeah.
if you miss a half court shot, everyone's not no one's gonna be oh boo like whatever. It's gonna be like all right, like they're getting creative with it. Like maybe a behind the back from the 3 point line, like maybe a
Right.
sky hook from three. Like that would be so cool for them to see. Everyone would be like, oh my god, this is a genius.
Right. It's more creativity and trick shots than actual skill, and it's skill, but it's like it's creativity more than showing your skill and trying to go up against each other. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. I mean, someone said as long as the fans like it, then that's fine. But the fans aren't watching it. It was the lowest rated like watched game. It was lower than the Pro Bowl this year. The Pro Bowl had
yeah,
more
and that's
eyes
bad.
than the All Star game.
I didn't watch either. And here's the thing. Obviously, it's Utah. Like it's Utah. No one else is going to go out there to watch Utah. I mean, that's the thing too. It's like the NBA, like those All Star Weekend events. Nobody really cares about the All Star games. I mean, honestly, I think the only one that has like something at stake is the Major League Baseball one because it's for home field advantage in the World Series. So
Right.
guys like actually want to do well. And but yeah, I mean, all those are still like it's celebrities hanging around. It's a social event. It's for networking. It's for business connections and stuff like that. That's how those are the whole points of those All Star like weekends, breaks, games, and stuff like that.
If you're Kyrie, you're trying to put together your next super team. You're you're trying
Pretty
to
much.
the two. You're trying to figure out where there's two max spots and see if you can go match up with KD in Brooklyn.
Yeah, no.
Uh, but I don't know. I don't really know what the answer is. I think it honestly comes down to the players just deciding like, do we want to make this a competitive game or do we just want to? You can still play competitive and not get hurt. Like I'm not saying you got to tackle guys and foul guys, but at
Oh
least
yeah.
try to play a little bit of defense. Like it doesn't. There's not a big risk factor of getting hurt if you play a little defense and play with some
Oh yeah.
intensity. So I don't really know what the answer is, but the only thing that I can say was I was happy to see Jason Tatum set the record and win the MVP, and it was fun to watch Jalen
Yeah.
Brown do his thing on the other side. So it's cool to see that. But other than that, it was if I wasn't a Celtics fan, I would not have enjoyed that game whatsoever. I didn't even enjoy the
I would
game.
have
I just
I would
enjoyed
have
watching.
I would have loved to see Marcus Smart in that All Star game, just playing defense and just locking up dudes. Like I'm curious to think who would the if the Celtics had a third All Star, who would it be?
That's tough. Marcus Smart missed a lot of time this year. If you asked me last year, I'd say Marcus Smart, but
Maybe Bob
Derek
Williams.
White, Rob Williams. Derek White's been playing like an MVP. Not, I'm not an exaggeration, but he's
Yeah,
been
I
playing out
mean,
of his mind.
yeah, I mean that's why. I mean he was always like that. I mean that's why we trade for him to begin with. Like that's the good part of his trade. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I think it could either be Smart, Derek White, or Bob Williams.
yeah. Rob Williams' defensive like prowess is just been on display this year. Like when Rob came back, the defense tightened up, and when Rob's on the floor, the defense is just
And the best part too is
like
when
an
they do, when Tatum and Brown drive, all they got to do is they penetrate and then just throw the ball in the air, and Bob's going to catch it for an alley oop.
yeah, yeah. Just throw it anywhere
He
near the
just has to
hoop, and
hover around
Rob's
the
gonna be
paint.
there. Exactly. Um,
I know. Sadly, cousin Blake is past his prime.
Oh my goodness, Blake and Rob on the same at the same time. Prime Blake and Rob, like just throw it up. One of them is gonna catch. They're both gonna like fight for the ball and dunk it at the same time. You'd
Yeah,
have to
that's
split
going to
the
be
points.
exactly.
Before we move on to MLB, thoughts on Joe Mazzulla getting the full time contract? Interim is off, and is now the full head coach of the Boston Celtics.
I think it's rightfully deserved. He came right in and just took his pedal to the metal. I mean, you could say the same thing. It was kind of like a Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr transition almost. Like the
Yeah,
Celtics just took off running.
I think it's too early to tell if that was a good move. I'm not a big Joe Mazzulla guy, to be honest with you. I think I'm not salty that they signed him. I'm not really upset that they have him as the head coach. But I think he was, like Steve Kerr, gifted a great situation. And unlike Steve Kerr, he makes a lot of questionable moves. Like his 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 readability of calling timeouts is just totally absurd. He like doesn't call timeouts in some of the situations that you absolutely have to. And I think he's lost at least 5 to 6 games this year for the Celtics because of it. Like coaching decisions. Not playing Rob with no limit restrictions. Not playing Rob in a game that I forget what team they were playing, but it was against I think it was against it was either the Bucks or the 76ers. Yeah, it was. It
Yeah,
was the Bucks. They lost 131 to 125 in overtime against the Bucks. Sam Hauser hit a prayer of a three to send it into overtime.
dude,
But
he's been the sneaky MVP besides Tatum and Brown. Him and Derek White have been so good.
I think I'm not in stretches. Who's the I think is big piece is Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon's
Oh
been
yeah,
a
I
solid
mean
piece off the
we all knew
bench.
that going in.
Yeah. But you played Mike Muscala. He hasn't played over 30 minutes since in like 3 years. Played him for 44 minutes. And you don't play you play Rob Williams 13 minutes in the game. That doesn't make sense to me. I think that's a terrible call. And down the
I
stretch,
can see why. I can
I
see
get
why
it.
they'll because you don't want to burn up Rob off his minute restrictions right away. Like you want to, yeah, they say he's free, like limit free, but like you still build up that workload regardless.
But he hasn't been on a minute
It's
restriction in over a month. And it's like he only played 13 minutes. I mean, what like he can play he's been playing at over 20, 25 minutes a game. And
yeah,
I just think when you're a depleted team, when you have no one playing, going into the All-Star break, and you have a chance to beat the Bucks and go up 2 games. Now they're I think a half a game back to go up, be able to go up 2 full games on the Bucks going into the All-Star break with a little bit of a stink. Like, yeah, you have Giannis going, you have everyone else playing, and you
but
still
Giannis is
can't
hurt
beat
though
us.
now.
But he was good in that game. I'm
Yeah,
saying, you have Giannis, you have a full team, and you still couldn't beat us when we were playing guys like Mike Muscala for 44. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I
yeah,
feel like that was a missed opportunity. In the grand scheme of things, it's not the biggest deal. And even in that game, he doesn't call a timeout when we need a timeout. And it ends up
yeah,
being like, they didn't like, even just to catch your breath down the stretch. It's like you
yeah.
don't have to draw anything up. Just catch your breath. I think he's making bad calls, and it's something that as a rookie coach it's expected. But by now, Ime figured it out. It's like he's got to start figuring out when to use timeouts and when not to use timeouts. So,
I mean, but also
and
too, Ime learned
substitution.
from one of the best. He learned from one of the best in Greg Popovich. I mean,
True.
Who did Missoula learn from? But Bob Huggins. But I mean, still, like at that point too. I mean, you could still learn from Ime and stuff like that. But I think at the same time too, back to the Bob Williams. I mean, wasn't at the time too? Wasn't Tatum sick? Wasn't Jaylen Brown sick? So maybe Bob was still like feeling a little bit sick, and he was like, "I know I'm not going to get 100% Bob today, so he's going to be more at risk of injury." That's the only thing I can think of. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'd rather be 100% down the stretch. Like it's about getting hot once the playoffs roll around, than be good all year and fizzle out.
Very true. Very true. But I still feel good about the Celtics. I still think they have just so much talent on this team. I think they're gonna add someone in the buyout market. I don't know who that is, but I think they'll add some scoring or big depth. I think they'll add scoring because they already kind of added Muscala, big
Yeah.
shooting three. So it'd be cool to add someone. We got Russ going to the Clippers. We got
John Wall going,
John,
he's getting bought out.
he's getting bought out. There was another buyout. Pat Beverly just went to the Bulls, which is like a weird move.
I
But
mean, not really, because I mean they're missing the defensive guy in Lonzo Ball, and Lonzo's knee is
that's
still
true.
messed up. Still, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I guess that's true. With that said, I think my money's still on the Celtics to win the NBA Finals. They got too much talent, so you know, go C's, and it's gonna be a fun last third of the season. It's probably like a third of the season left, so go C's. Now
Exactly.
let's
Let's
get.
go season. And
Oh,
Bruins too.
that's true. We didn't even talk about the Bruins today. We don't have much time to talk about them because we want to talk some baseball right now. But Bruins are hot. They've been hot all year. They've
Dude,
been
they're just a
dominant.
wagon. That's all we
They're,
gotta say. They're a wagon.
they're
So
an absolute
that's all that needs to be said.
wagon. But, yep, I love it. Go Bees. Um, the little baseball talk here. I know we have a New York Met on the team, but we got to start with the because you're a Red Sox fan at heart, so we got to talk a little Sox. Um, you know, for me, it's been a disappointing offseason for the Red Sox. I had high hopes, didn't really achieve those high hopes. Even my mediocre hopes didn't even really achieve those. And some of the guys I had
Yeah.
like as low attainable guys, we really didn't get. As Red, I know you're a New York Met, and I don't know if you can talk about it, but what's your overall opinion of the Red Sox? I almost said rocks. The Red Sox off season, the Red Sox off season, and any predictions for the Sox how they're going to do this year?
I mean, yeah, I can share from a fan's perspective. I mean, obviously, growing up, being a Red Sox fan, I mean, Xander Bogaerts was there for as long as I can remember. I mean, seeing how that went down and how it seemed like the organization handled that. I mean, obviously, I don't know what was going on behind closed doors, but I felt like you should have at least reward the man. I mean, he took pay cut. He stayed for a while. Like he he was homegrown
Agreed.
talent. He was the last that he deserved every penny that he got from San Diego. Like good for him. Like I'm sad to see him go, but I'm happy he finally got his flowers. I mean, the fact that the Red Sox couldn't do that, but they're willing to pay 100 and was I think 160 million, if not for Yoshida. I mean, granted he's still a great baseball player, but like he's unproven in the major leagues. I mean, that's a whole different ball game, major leagues. I mean, you've seen guys come from Japan and have great success in Otani, Ichiro, Yu Darvish, but also you've seen guys kind of fluster out like Dice K, um, who else? Okajima, a bunch of other people. Like you don't know, and the fact that they were willing to give that man that much money and not Xander Bogaerts, who's been solidified in a big name market, who's had Gold Gloves and Silver Slugger awards, like it's tough to see. It's tough to see as a fan. But who knows? I mean, being able to play against some of the Red Sox talent, like minor, like farm system guys, like they have some good guys down there too. But I mean, obviously, the only ones that really know where the direction is going is the front office. But I mean, you hope for the best. I mean, you hope they still beat the Yankees, regardless.
That's right. I hope everyone beats the Yankees. What do you think is like a good prediction or like goal for this team to like what do you think is like the goal for where they should finish this off for this season? Do you think the playoffs are out of question? Do you think I still think they got some pieces on this team to
um,
make a little push, like a wild card, but I'm not confident in it.
I'm gonna have a very hot take on this. I think the Red Sox are gonna be last in the division, personally,
I don't think that's
because you
too
had
out of a take. I don't
I
think
mean, you had the Yankees that they're still a powerhouse. Like they didn't really lose anyone. You have the Tampa Bay Rays, who always put up good numbers. Like they're going to be a 2 or 3. You have the Orioles, who their core is going to be really good with Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, all them. I mean, and people don't realize the Orioles made a sneaky great offseason move by acquiring James McCann. I mean, granted, like Mac was a really good guy. Like he helped me out in the minor leagues for a little bit, and he's been around the game long enough. Has been an all star at his position. I mean, he's going to be in a great role of like mentoring Rutschman and stuff like that. And he was telling us like it takes a major league catcher almost like 4 years to be able to call and understand a major league game. So it's like him going to be there to help out Rutschman is only going to make him that much better. Which Rutschman potentially could be a top 5 catcher in the league by the end of the year. Um, so we'll see on that. And then you have Jackson Holiday coming up, depending on how he does. I mean, Baltimore's got a lot of good talent in their farm system, like on the cusp of bringing to the major leagues. And then even the Blue Jays too. Like you had those moves. You have Berrios, you have Vladdy Jr., Gurriel, or unless Gurriel got traded, but you still got Bo Bichette. Like you got some big. The AL East might be the hardest division, along with the NL East. Honestly,
I agree. I think I like what you said about the Orioles. I think they have a lot of good pieces there. I'm not saying they're going to win the World Series by any means, but I think they have some good pieces in there to be a competitive and, you know, give trouble to. It's not going to be the normal Orioles that kind of just roll over and you can expect to
no,
get like try
it
to
seems
win
like
three
it's
out
gonna
of
be the Buck
four.
Showalter Orioles. It seems like it's gonna be the Buck Showalter Orioles, where they had Adam
Right.
Jones, JJ Hardy, like those guys that like were in
Machado.
the wild card. Exactly. So it's like
Yeah.
you. I forgot how good Machado was in the Orioles too. Like,
Yeah. He was good. So I think you're right. I think this is going to be a tough division. I think the Red Sox have enough to do some damage this year. I just don't know how much damage that is. I don't think it's too hot of a take to say they'll finish last in the division. Like if you told me now, and like if you went fast forward in time and then came back and said the Red Sox finished in last place, I wouldn't be surprised. But if you told me that they made a little push at the end and like maybe didn't make the playoffs and still had success or made the playoffs and got bounced quick in the wild
yeah.
card round, I think I wouldn't be as surprised either. I think they still got a lot of pieces on that team that can help, and there's a lot of question marks on that team. But if everyone plays, like if you get what you think you're going to get out of Tristan Cassis, and he plays the way we think he's going to play,
I mean, I
then
think right now the Red Sox are in like a bridge gap. What I mean by that is they have some good players in their prime, which is like Rafi Devers right now. I mean, you have Chris Sale, who like I mean they got Sale, Paxton, Kluber, who are kind of like a little bit past their primes, but they can still contribute.
right,
Rafi is about to hit his prime, but then here's the thing too: you have Cassis coming up. You have what's his name? Bello. You have
Mello,
Bello,
yeah,
who's going to be he's going to be doing good. He's going to be fully established this year. And then you got guys like you still have in the minor league ranks. So you have Rafaela, who's going to be probably in the big leagues at some point this year if a guy gets hurt. Like that kid can flat out ball and fly and stuff like that. I mean, you on the bench in the minor leagues. You have even in AAA, you have Ryan Fitzgerald, who was really good at shortstop for Worcester last year before his injury. I mean, they have like the way. Then you got Blaze Jordan coming in, Marcelo Meyer soon within 2 years. Like the Red Sox are gonna be like the Orioles at some point soon. And that's what Heim got brought in to do. And people can give Heim like the crap all they want to understand that, but it's like people don't realize Heim's vision is the Marcelo Meyer, the Nick York, and those guys. The ones that are down in low A and high A right now, not the double A, triple A guys right now. And that's what people
right.
aren't realizing. And as Boston, the big market, like we're normally a win now. Like while we're rebuilding, we should also be able to win games. But I think ownership has Heim's hands tied, which sucks to say. But I
Yeah,
mean, the fact that you can let Xander walk away and like, I mean, I never understood why they brought in Trevor Story. Like, yeah, Story's a great baseball player and stuff like that, but you already had the solidified shortstop in Xander Bogaerts. So you could have taken Story's money or Yoshida's money, go to Xander, but they didn't want to do that.
I'd rather them take both Yoshi's money and Story's money and give it to Bogarts and Mookie. I'd rather Mookie and Bogarts right now than those two guys right now. Like it's like
Yeah, I mean that's the tough part too. Is like the Mookie situation. I mean, but also too they need to dump David Price's contract, so that's kind of why. Um,
that is true.
but Mookie wanted to get paid. Mookie wanted to stay in Boston, but he wanted to stay for like 350, $400 million, which nobody. I mean, here's the thing: if he now looking at it that they won a World Series, yeah, like Mookie was probably worth that $400 million. But did you think Boston could win another World Series with Mookie there? We don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's easy to say now that it was smart or not smart to get it. That at the time, even at the year after, the 2 years after Mookie was traded, I mean, people were looking at Verdugo. Verdugo was starting to have a better year at some points than Mookie, and some of like better
Yeah.
starts to years than Mookie. It's like I'm not saying Verdugo is a better player than Mookie, but I don't think Verdugo is as bad as people are saying. Like, I think you have a good
No,
player in Alex Verdugo. I think they need to give him a little bit of a shot this year too.
I
It's
mean
just
also too Connor Wong at catching. Like
kind of
you got
wrong,
him in the
right?
trade. Well, Jeter Downs is gone now. Jeter Downs got claimed off of waivers by the Nationals. So I mean, now the only two guys in the Mookie trade you have are in the show now.
Right.
So now, I mean, seeing how Connor Wong does this year will determine how good of the Mookie trade is. Honestly, I
Yeah.
mean, in order to get rid of I mean, you got two big leaguers, and then Downs, yeah, he made the big leagues, but he struggled, so then he got DFA'd and then got cleaned off of waivers. Now
Right.
it's okay. How's this gonna really translate? Like you need to get rid of David Price's contract, so that
Right.
Mookie had to bite the bullet for that. And I think that was the first crushing blow of trying to rebuild everything. So
Right. I also, on a positive note, before we move off the Red Sox, I like what as much as I give Heim a lot of crap, I like what he did with his bullpen a lot. Like, I think he built a pretty solid bullpen. I love the addition of Kenley Jansen. I think Tanner Houck is a good person in the bullpen. I'm glad they're kind of keeping him in the pen. I think Chris Martin could have a good year, bounce back year in the pen. Um, you're going to have one of those starters. I hope it doesn't sound like they're going to do it, but Garrett Whitlock in the pen seems so much better than making him the fifth starter. It sounds like they're going to make him a starter,
isn't
but
Pivetta going to be in the bullpen too?
I think Pivetta is going to be. I thought Pivetta was going to be a starter, but he may be in the pen. It's like there's a group of like starters. There's like 6 or 7 starters on the team, and like 2 of them are going to be moved to the pen. I just don't know which
Yeah,
ones yet, but I think Kenley Jansen was a huge ad for them. I really like
yeah.
him.
They needed a back end established. They needed somebody like an eighth or ninth inning guy established. Like
Right.
Matt Barnes was it for a while, then he got shaky. Like it sucks that he got traded. Like it's just like he was there for a while since 2013, stuff like that. But it was like he was starting off good, but then after like May whatever, Brazier kind of blew him out the waters, and like it's a love hate relationship with Brazier, but
Yeah, you can say that
he was
again.
doing the job.
Yeah. Looking at the Mets and your personal looking at your season, what are some? I know we kind of talked about it before, but what are a couple of your goals for your season coming up? Because you're starting spring training. You're not starting. You're in the middle of spring training right now. What are some of the goals that you're setting for yourself going forward for this season?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much just attack and compete. I mean, if I'm not attacking and competing, attacking the strike zone, then like I'm not doing my job. Like it doesn't matter which level I want to be at, whether it's double A, triple A, or eventually the bigs one day. It's like the first and foremost is I need to be able to get that baseball in the strike zone, whether it's a fastball, slider, curveball, or changeup. And it's just I just want to throw more strikes more than anything at that point. And then if I get hit around, I get hit around. I just want to trim down the walks and give the team a best chance to win. So
I like it. Also, looking at your organization, the Mets are loaded this year.
yeah, they are.
Just what's your reaction to the Mets offseason they've had? I mean, I wish the owner of the Mets bought the Red Sox so we could get a little bit of this action too, because he's just
Yeah.
adding pieces left and right. Just reactions to the big league club and what they've been
Um,
able to do this offseason.
I mean, honestly, the Cohen effect it trickles down even to the minor leagues. They really, from what the guys have been here in years past, like Cohen's really taken steps to take care of the minor leaguers, give them the resources they need to develop, like proper nutrition, stuff like that, like the winning mindset. It's not just, oh, we're the Mets anymore. It's the no, like we're the New York Mets, like we are in New York, like we're here to win. Um, but no, I mean the raw people that they've made and then the injuries too, like the starting pitching depth this year is so competitive between the top five in Brooklyn, not Brooklyn, the top five in Queens. You have Scherzer, Verlander, Senga, Quintana, and Carrasco. And then if you want to add the other five, you have Joey Lucchesi, Tyler McGill, David Peterson. Like they all had big league innings,
Right.
and Eliezer Hernandez they brought in from the Marlins as well. And then you have Jose Buto, who's our top pitching prospect right now. So that's 10 guys right there, all competing for a 5-man rotation in the big leagues. So whoever doesn't make that is going to AAA, and then whoever was in AAA last year is probably trickling down to AA maybe, unless they
Yeah,
decide to, like, hey, if I want to stay in AAA, I'm going to move to the bullpen.
right.
So it's super competitive. Like, I think even for me, like, I'm like, I don't care if I start a relief. I just want to be at the highest level I can compete at. So if I got to move to the bullpen, screw it. Then I got to move to the bullpen. I've started and I've relieved this last year, so I'm used to whatever. It's just knowing my role and just being ready for whenever the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, I think the starting rotation for the Mets may be the best I've seen in any team in recent history that I can think of. Like it's literally you're facing 5 1s or 2s the whole every night of the
Yeah,
rotation. It's literally like, oh, we played Scherzer, we faced Scherzer last night. Oh, we got to go face
Verlander.
Verlander or any of them really. Like it's like you
And
can name any
you
of
know
them.
what's the scariest part? Guess who comes in the ninth?
Yeah, exactly. You got to. It doesn't.
Exactly.
It's like there's no relief for if an offense facing your pitching staff. It's like the Mets are going to be very fun to watch this year, and I'm very happy because they like to beat the Yankees, so any team that likes to beat the Yankees is okay with me. But I like the Mets overall, which is crazy as a Boston fan because what they did to us in '86. But I'm a fan of the Mets. I can't help it. They got my boy Dave Griffin in the organization, so I have to. I'm always supportive of them. We haven't even talked about that. Forget about those 10 guys. We have Dave Griffin waiting in the wings somewhere. Who's just gonna get? He's gonna put Max or Verlander out of a job someday. It's
Oh,
like,
please.
but I mean, I think in all seriousness, I think that the Mets are. I think you're crazy to pick any other team to win the World Series next year because it's like if everyone stays healthy, that's the team. And we haven't even talked about the offensively. You're just looking at the
Exactly.
pitching rotation. Like it's the most complete team I've seen in a long time. Like we're talking years of seeing this
And like not to
complete of a
mention like they traded McCann away to Baltimore just for them to get Omar Narvaez, an all-star catcher from Milwaukee.
right,
Like
right.
you have then you have Dino, who everyone loves, and it's just like you have that, and then in between them two is you have one of the top prospects in baseball who just turned 21 in Francisco Alvarez, who he's in the waiting room. Then you have Beatty, who's 22, 23, and stuff like that. Like they have a lot of depth, and people don't realize that.
You haven't even talked about Lindor. You haven't even talked about Alon.
Exactly.
Like you have so many people on that
Like
team.
Alonso's also down like 15, 20 pounds too. Like he's
A
in
lot.
better shape. He's slimmed. Even Vogelback lost like 25 pounds, 30 pounds. Like there's a buzz, and you
I
can
can't
feel it
wait.
around the complex.
I can't wait to see it because I'm really hoping that the Mets go far and win it all this year because I know my boys in Boston aren't going to do it, but if my boy Dave Griffin's team can get it done, I'll be very excited for
I'd be happy to.
that. But with that said, let's move on to our final segment of the night, the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby! People's topic.
So for people's topic, you can write on our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to talk about. Up first, we got Dave Griffin. Dave Griffin has a big people's topic that he wants to talk about. Go ahead, Dave. What do you got for our topic today?
Indeed, I do. The 2023 World Baseball Classic. For those who don't know, it's the World Cup of Baseball, and it's back this year. It was supposed to happen, I believe, in 2020, and then COVID ultimately affected all that stuff. But no, I'm excited. I mean, this is one of the most talented rosters ever assembled for all teams, honestly. I mean, look at Japan. You have Yu Darvish going. You have Shohei Ohtani as well. Like that's great for the sport in Japan. Like Japan's always been had great baseball players. Would have loved to see Yoshida play for them too, but ultimately it's tough when you're trying to go to your first year club. Like I know Senga wanted to go play for them as well, but it's more important to get acclimated to your organization first. Even Great Britain had some players too, like Jazz Chisholm was going to play for them, but the Marlins ultimately said no, which stinks to hear. I got a few buddies that are playing for Great Britain. Um, Even Canada, if Canada was healthy and like they had guys like they got Matt Brash, Freddie Freeman. They would have had Prevetta if he just didn't get sick recently. Like they got some good talent over there. And even, I mean, you can even say the Dominican Republic, like all their whole roster is future All Stars or Hall of Famers. Like same thing with Puerto Rico. Like even like even China and stuff like that. It's gonna be really fun to watch, and I'm super excited for that.
I know, and a couple of former Brockton Rocks players are also playing in it. There was three. I remember two of them, but our good friend Jake Fishman and Zach Geloff are playing for Israel. Jake
Yep.
played for Israel a couple of years ago. Played for Israel, was it last year or
No, the
played for
2020 Olympics.
was it the 20? Oh yeah, in the 2020 Olympics he played for Israel.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. Both on the athletics organization, so that's pretty cool. I forget who the other person was.
BJ Murray Jr.
BJ Murray.
He's playing for Great Britain.
Oh, that's awesome. BJ Murray. BJ Murray was a player at the Rocks too. He was a good player for the Rocks.
What year was he there?
I think he was in the 2019. 2019, I think, was the year he was there. World Baseball Classic. Great Griff. Great way to start us off for the people's topic. Let's go to John. John says Mac McClung dunk contest. Yeah, he had an unbelievable dunk contest. Quite honestly,
it all depends on who runs it next year.
Yeah, it depends on who's in it next year. Mrs. Big Red says me, so I'm trying to think. Mrs. Big Red is going to.
What was your Valentine's Day plans?
Oh, Valentine's Day! Got her some flowers. We took her out to dinner. We went to.
Where'd you go?
We went. Where did we go? I think we went to. You ever been to what's it called? It's in Raynham.
Probably not then. No, I don't go to Raynham.
No. It was either there or we got pizza from Grand Slam, the great establishment in West Bridgewater. I can't remember.
All right.
But yeah,
I think Town Spa's got better pizza, but
Town Spa has some unbelievable pizza. I will never talk bad about the Town Spa. Town Spa is in a league of its own. But Grand Slam Pizza is also where it's at too. That's West Bridgewater.
All right.
Give it a try. Different. It's like, see, the Town Spa is bar pizza. Grand Slam is not bar pizza, so it's different. It's a different.
I'm a big bar pizza guy.
It's comparing apples to oranges. You know what I mean? It's like you can't compare the two together. You know what I mean?
I've gone 3 weeks without bar pizza. I'm losing my mind, Steve.
You need to get some bar pizza down in Florida. That would be a good spot. Someone would make a lot of money. They open a bar pizza place down there.
Yeah, I'll go. I'll go expand in Emma's. How's that? I'll go buy a franchise and open it down here.
That's right. I like it. I'll go in with you. I'll go in with you. This one comes from Cameron. He says XFL baby. XFL is back. We didn't really talk about it today. Not a lot of time. Had other stuff we want to get to, but my Battlehawks, man, cleared to engage, had a big win, comeback from behind win on the opening day. It's an electric sport, electric league. And the thing I love about, I don't know if you know this, Dave, but they don't have onside kicks. What you can do is you have a 4th and 30, like a 4th and 15 or 4th and 25. I forget what it is. What is it? XFL rules. Cut this out.
Yeah, but
XFL
shout out to Paxton Lynch.
Yeah.
First player ever to get benched in NFL, CFL, XFL, and whatever else. Arena Football League, I think. I don't know. That man's been benched in every category, every league. And the fact that Jerry Jones wanted to trade up to get him, it's baffling.
It is a 4th and 15. I mean, at what point do you just say it's not for you? This game isn't for you. You just get benched. I mean,
as long as they keep paying him, man. She should be doing the same thing. I don't want to go work in 9 to 5.
That's true. So in the 4th quarter only, if you want to, instead of doing an onside kick in the 4th quarter, you can opt to convert a 4th and 15 to retain the possession on the field for the
Oh,
offense.
wow.
So instead of doing the onside kick, you get a 4th and 15, which the Battlehawks did in their comeback on Saturday, Sunday, whenever the game was. So I love that rule.
I like
Onside
that.
kicks are cool too, but that's like keeps it fun.
Yeah, I feel like the XFL won't fully like live up to the potential because it'll always be compared to the NFL as like rivals. But I think this would be a good idea if the NFL bought the XFL and made it like its G League for players. Like I think that'd be great. Like I think that would be great to develop guys, and it gives the league better revenue, and it gets the NFL helps its assistants. Like because how many guys do you see come from the draft and then just go straight to the league and play and just choke?
Yeah.
Like there's so
True.
many first round quarterbacks that just don't deserve a chance to be playing in the NFL, but just because they're a first round draft pick, they'll get chance time and time after again. Like I don't think Brock Purdy's going to see another snap in the NFL as a starter, which sucks to hear because he was so good.
I think they'll keep with him. If he's healthy, I think they'll stick with him.
They got Trey Lance. Absolutely not. They got Trey Lance. It's a business decision.
I honestly think we have to see what happens, but I don't necessarily think Trey Lance has the job next year, which I could be wrong, but I understand he's a first round pick. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. They, in the grand scheme of things, they didn't give that much up for him. I know they gave up a bunch of picks, but the picks that they gave up ended up being like there's only one real big loss in there. Otherwise, it was you're dealing with end of the first round picks.
Yeah, but how much money they paid him though? That's the point I'm trying to make. They've paid a lot of money for Trey Lance.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't see them feeling like they're handcuffed starting Trey Lance next year. I think they're going to.
Trey Lance signed for a 4-year, $34 million deal, which included a $22 million signing bonus. So that right there tells me that like they're gonna go with them, and the fact that they gave Jimmy G the most expensive as a backup, like that tells you right then there, like
they don't care about paying big money for their backup. They don't care about paying that much money for a backup quarterback. I think they're just going to
grooming him.
They're just grooming him for being the backup. I don't think they're locked into Trey Lance starting next year. I think it's going to come down to a quarterback competition. Don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be who plays best. If Trey Lance outplays Brock Purdy, then maybe he starts. But I don't think it's like clear cut no matter what. I think Trey Lance is starting. I would not say that at all. I don't see it happen. It depends on how the quarterback play.
It's a tale as old as time, Steve.
Last one comes from Joseph_Staley. He writes, home run derby and 3-point contest are the only entertaining all-star events.
I agree.
Home run derby, I think, clears everything. The home run derby is the
100%.
most entertaining.
But sneaky event that I actually saw, it was for under the NHL All-Star. The NHL All-Star Skills Challenge, they had some good stuff. They just prolonged it out for so long. Like they had one challenge that I liked. It was the goalies would have to get a pass and then shoot it into the net. Like in the net was like barricaded. If they went through the little hole, it became a 3-on-0. If they hit the net itself, it'd be a 2-on-0. And if they just miss, it'd be a 1-on-0 shootout, and you get points for each. And I thought that was really fun to watch for a goalie skills competition. So sometimes you have Ovechkin and you had Ovechkin and Crosby do a 2-on-0, and everyone's like, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing."
Yeah, that's cool. I think the hockey doesn't get enough credit because it's not like a high profile sport. Like it's not like a big market sport, if that makes sense. But they got some cool ideas. Also I think it's in the Japanese baseball league. The bunting competition is pretty electric. I got to tell you, that's pretty electric. If you haven't seen videos of it, go watch that. That's
I would have loved a fielding skills horse competition. That's what I would have loved.
That would
be
cool.
If you just go if you go and look up Brandon Crawford ground ball highlights in like minor leagues, he was doing like things joking around, and it was unbelievable. And like I was like, not even on turf. I'm just like, oh my God, like how is this dude doing this?
To get back to Joseph_Vasilia's question, I completely agree. Mainly the home run derby is the greatest all-star event.
Oh, home run derby all day.
But if you had to pick another one, the the 3-point contest has kind of overtaken other NBA events. But to be honest with you, the 3-point competition wasn't that great. Like I
did like the skills challenge one when they do like dribble around, make a bounce pass. Like the one time like Bron, D Wade, all them did it, and like they went hard. Like even Kobe, like they were trying to go hard, and that was cool to see. But like now, like All-Star Weekend, it's not sacred anymore, and like that's what stinks. Like everyone's just doing it to like we need somebody to fill in for it instead of being like you're telling me if you got Zion Williamson to do the dunk contest, like Zion Williams and Mac McClellan, like LeBron James, even like LeBron could have done something, or even dude, like what would be your ultimate dunk contest lineup?
We did this a couple of years ago, or last year or something like that. As of now, like if we're talking in the NBA now, I'd probably put Zion in it if he's healthy.
Zion.
I'd want to see Mac. Aaron Gordon in it again. I don't even know if I'd pick Mac, to be honest with you. I know he just won it, but I want to. How many people do you pick? 4 or 5?
4.
Is it 4? So I'd pick Zion, Aaron Gordon, and Zach LaVine. I'd want to see those 4 in the slam dunk contest.
I don't think Aaron Gordon has the hops he used to anymore. That's why.
You don't think so?
No.
That's disappointing. I'd love to see him do it again.
Oh yeah, we would too, but he got robbed. But I mean, like I still think Ja's so explosive. Same thing with Zion.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I feel like Mac has to go reclaim the throne. Like he did everything on the first attempt. Like you got to give that man credit to do that. And then
I'm not saying he won't be back there next year. I'm saying if I could pick the players in a slam dunk contest, that's who it would be. But I think Mac would be there.
Dude, I'm still picking Mac regardless. I've seen that man's high school mixtape 1,000%. And then I don't know who else. I
don't think Bron would. I don't know if Bron would be a good one. It would be cool to see him in it, but I think it's a lose-lose for him.
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards would be a good one.
Those would be my 4, and it would single-handedly bring the dunk contest back.
You heard it here first, Adam Silver. This is how you bring back the dunk contest to its glory. Bring back those 4 guys.
Exactly.
But with that said, I want to thank everyone for writing in to our People's Topic. Remember, you can write on our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone every week. You can also find us on TikTok at Big Red Zone. Give us a follow on all of those. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button on this video as well as all our other videos. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when all our episodes and our videos drop. You'll also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And please, please, please tell a friend. My thanks to Dave Griffin. As always, thank you for joining us on this fine Wednesday evening.
Hey, thanks for having me. Nothing I want more than on the podcast or watching the sunset in Florida right now. So
I'm jealous. Well, I can't wait to see you see what you do this year. I know it's you're going to do great, and I'm excited for whatever the future holds for Dave Griffin in the baseball world. But more importantly, thank you for coming on the podcast. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening, and have a great week, everyone.